right. We are live.
Here we are.
Here we
Tuesday night. It is the last Talking Toast of 2024. And
what a year it has been.
Oh, we're so excited. This is good stuff, y'all.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go make sure we're up and online.
Oh yeah, I should go share it.
And no, let's do it one at a time so that someone can entertain the toasters.
Okay. I'm your entertainment this evening. My name is John. It's working.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. If my eyes drift away every once in a while, my Tigers are playing the Gamecocks in men's basketball right now, which is
You're good.
This is the rivalry for my college, and so we're down by 4 points with 13 minutes left. And I'm just kind of looking every once in a while, just glancing.
So tonight, since it's our last Talking Toast before Christmas,
Yes,
we have a special treat.
we do. For us.
You're not very festive tonight.
Well, I wanted to wear something Clemson because we're playing right now, and then this Saturday is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but I'm feeling very Christmassy these days.
I'm glad. I listen to Christmas music all day.
So, in celebration of the last Talking Toast of the year, we have the famous Tom and Jerry's, the famous in small circles, Tom and Jerry's.
Small Midwestern Lutheran circles.
Lutheran. And they're good this year.
They are. You did great. You did great. It's good stuff. So you'll have to go look it up if you don't know what a Tom and Jerry is. It's sort of like eggnog, but not.
Yours is.
It has a batter.
Funny things.
It does, but you know what? It's still delicious.
Okay. Good. I think so. It's like 12 eggs, a pound of butter, and 2 pounds of sugar. It called for 3 pounds of sugar, but I couldn't put the third in. So do we need to turn that television off?
I'm listening to everything you just said, and I'm paying attention. I said my eyes will glance every once in a while to see what's up there.
Okay.
Please don't do this to
I
me.
was just
Don't
wondering.
call me out on live Talking Toast thing. I prefaced it.
I seem
Let's
to remember. I seem to remember a time last year.
We're
when
talking
this
and toasting. Just stop.
I think you said I won't do that again. That was last season, though.
That was last season. This is the rivalry game in basketball. Just give me a little bit of a break.
You were gonna go share it on social media.
I was talking, and then I got.
Welcome to Talking Toast, everybody. We officially started 8:28. So you have just a minute to grab a friend, grab a drink, and grab your friend a drink, but don't take your friend's drink. So we gather every week at the same time in the same place to talk and pull back the curtain on the creative process. So we're glad you're with us tonight and tuning in to hear some kind of reflections on Christmas and reflections on the year and kind of anticipations and hopes for 2025.
That's right. And so we're going to talk a little bit about 24-25. We're going to talk about this Talking Toast is an intro into our creative process, which is the homily process. But also this season of Advent, we have been doing one monologue from Ruth Bowling's book, Season's Greetings.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do that this week as well. And so we're really excited about talking about that. But first, every Talking Toast, and this is your chance to respond to us, to type back, to talk back, to make this a dialogue. We want to know what is sustaining you. Then there may be some more questions throughout.
There will be more questions throughout.
But what is sustaining you? What is that 808 beat? What is getting you through? What is the undercurrent? What is pulling you along? As Barbara Brown Taylor would say, what is saving your life right now? So, Katie, What is sustaining you?
I think I'm excited. The thing that is sustaining me is the idea of some time off. I'm excited. We're going to have the first time off together from both of my jobs, but together where we don't like have a whole lot of programming happening, and we're just going to kind of be together.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about that.
I'm really excited about it too.
So starting next Monday, I'm off for a little while, and it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm excited, and I'm kind of like giving into the Christmas excitement right now too.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Christmas, and like, I'm ready.
Me too.
We've
It's
had our
gonna be
tree
good.
up for like a month now.
We have. Yeah, that was a pre-Thanksgiving thing for us, and usually the season is so busy. It's the nature of our work. This season's so busy, so we try to start it a little bit earlier so that we can actually enjoy it. And
Enjoy it.
I feel like it's been has not been as busy as usual. I feel like we've done a better job of like slowing down a little bit until last Sunday, but before
Yeah, I was gonna say,
last
like,
Sunday,
speak for yourself.
before last Sunday. And so this is going to be a week like that too. If you are in Baltimore, Catonsville especially, our church has what's called a Journey to Bethlehem on Saturday, which is a live nativity walk-through experience. It is really, really neat, and so we're going to be participating in that. And so we're really excited about that. So we want
There
to
will be
invite
live
you to that.
animals.
Yep, and you can come anytime between 6 and 8, and there will be live animals.
Yep.
There won't be any tigers. There won't be any longhorns, but, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Yeah, so that's what's sustaining you.
So what's sustaining you?
What's sustaining me is bowl season. I am having so much fun every year around this time. I love watching college football bowl games. And for me, since the Army-Navy game happens the week after like the championships, that's kind of like the kickoff for me.
Yeah.
And there's actually a bowl game that day. The Cricket Bowl, which was the HBCU National Championship, took place at 12 o'clock. So anyway, I'm just having a really, really good time with all the different bowl games.
Throwback to the time that I ran into Ludacris in Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta.
What did you holler out at Ludacris, Katie?
I said, "Luda!"
Yes.
and walked away.
Yes. It was embarrassing. So, yeah, that's what's sustaining me. And so this is our last Talking Toast of the year. And so you've got some questions. And we still need let us know if the chat is working at some point.
We've got people on.
We've got people on. Good. So yeah, please share what's sustaining you. And then we also have some questions, right? Tell me.
Yeah, so one of the cool things that happens at the end of the year is it's kind of an automatic time to reset and reflect and think about where you've been and where you want to go. And if we're being honest, I think that there's not enough space for that in our world. We live in a very fast-paced world, right? Mm-hmm. We live in a world that doesn't do a whole lot of reflecting on our past and prepping for our future. It is a lot of just responding. Mm-hmm. And so we want and think that this life of spirituality that we're trying to cultivate, whether it's in the church or out of the church for you, but this life of spirituality is a life that requires of us some reflection, right? Like how we're doing on certain things and how we're doing them and how we want to be doing them. So I think that it would be most appropriate to begin our last Talking Toast of the year by looking back and thinking about the things that that we learned this year.
Yeah.
So what's something that you learned this year?
I did not see that full question until we just came down, so I'm going to need a second. It seems like there's something on your mind that you learned this year. Would you like to go first with this one? And friends, if you have something that you've learned this year, it doesn't have to be through Talking Toast, but something that's been influential in your life. Yeah, share. So what's something you've learned this year?
You know, I think I've learned a lot about how people work. And what I mean by that is I spent a few months this year really hopeful for a particular event and saw no way that it was not going to work out. And people surprised me. And yet I'm not surprised. The election.
Sorry, you were talking. You're so many like descriptors, but no like in detail, and I was like I couldn't follow. And you had a double negative in there too, so I was trying to. I wasn't being mean.
Go
about
back and
that.
watch the game.
I wasn't being mean about that. I was trying to follow, and I was saying.
Go enjoy your game.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, I think what I was saying with that is like I learned a lot about people during that. I learned about priorities of some people and how my priorities are very different from a lot of people's. And the role of the economic kind of anger that some people have outweighs the responsibility to others, to neighbor, and in some way contradicts the responsibility to neighbor. And that was a hard learning. I mean, I think there were a lot of people in 2016 who had a similar learning. And, you know, there's something about what I learned about society as a whole that changed me. And at the same time, I also learned about the power of the local.
Yeah.
And the power of the local community to be an agent of change in a larger society that may be disappointing or just straight up unjust. But the power of the local community really came in, like when we were walking. I mean, we've become more engaged in our neighborhood over this last year. And walking through the neighborhood, it's like, you know, people and you see them in the face on a rough day and you say, look, we're going to get through this together, or whatever it may be. Anyway, so I think like the larger community surprised me, but the small local community surprised me in like the best way.
Yeah, that's a good word. I was going to say something similar, and Rebecca Cerami agrees with you. And your dad says hello on the island. I was going to say something similar to that, in that, well, I'll start off with the negative and the positive. I'll start off with the negative. I learned that we all had a collective trauma that has not been dealt with.
Yeah.
And it's hard whenever a traumatic event happens. It's hard to point our fingers on how it affects us. We just know it affects us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think collectively, we all had that kind of experience. And whether this is not like a scientific, a political kind of thing. The world shut down for everybody.
Yeah.
We all had that kind of thing. And whether you lost a loved one, or But I guarantee you, everybody in the United States knew somebody who died in COVID.
Yeah.
And everybody here and throughout the world had some fear about this
Yeah.
because there were trucks being used as morgues in major cities
Yeah.
in our own country. That is a traumatic experience. I learned that we haven't dealt with that, and maybe some of the election and all of that like shows that. And I was listening to this great podcast. Guess who it was from?
Rob Bell.
Yeah, of course. And he said, elections are basically saying more of this, or do you want to change? More of this, or do you want to change? And I think that deep down, all of us recognize, yeah, we need some change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we won't all agree what that change is.
Yeah.
But I think especially coming out of that period of time and that kind of change and then that kind of experience on a global level, yeah, everybody's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But
And kind
we
of
need
A
change.
collective unmooring.
A collective unmooring, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we're still in that nebulous, some would call it liminal space, where it's hard. So I learned about that collective trauma side of that. The positive that I learned is what you just hit on, with how much we are connected and how much we need community. And I experienced community this year in a different way than I ever have before.
Yeah.
In a church setting, I experienced it. In our neighborhood, I experienced it. In families, I experienced it. It was one of those things where just it was glaringly obvious that we need each other and we are more connected than we realize.
Yeah.
So that was a positive learning for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That all change and all needed stability or mooring or whatever you want to call it comes from that local community, whatever local is for you. If it's
Right.
your family unit or if it's, your neighborhood, your whatever. My dad said neighbors are what makes us better. I love the book, The Vanishing Neighbor. It's made a difference in my life. The Callaway's life is living proof of the value of connection with tier 2 communities. So that's a really important, Lee Taylor, I just came and knocked on your door and you didn't answer. I was dropping off Tom and Jerry's batter. We are lucky to have you as neighbor and part of our church too, Lee.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's really important. Okay, so let's shift. Sorry.
You get really excited all of a sudden and the thing is going blasting out of the red. Sorry. What you got?
So let's shift and think about 2025. I said shift and think about 2025.
Yeah.
So 2025 is around the corner. What is one thing that you're looking forward to in 2025? Or a hope that you have for 2025?
We were in an elders meeting at the church, and I don't mean for everything to always revolve around church, but a lot of times in my mind, different things line up that way.
Yeah.
And one of the people in the elders group put down the need for stability as one of their needs of the church. And I've been thinking about that in my life and thinking about in the next year, what are ways what do I need to do in my own life to not feel that responsive nature, but that that reactive nature, but more of that responsive. Like, how am I going to how am I going to provide stable footing for me in some ways, but then also in raising a child, like how to do that. And I think a new year gives a new opportunity for that, and I'm kind of excited about that. That was really nebulous out there. There are like little things that I'm excited about, that I could share, like you know, summer trips and different things like that. There are all those kinds of things, but I'm trying to figure out that stability side of things,
like a groundedness.
Yeah, a rootedness, a groundedness.
Yeah.
What are you excited about for 2025?
That's an interesting. I'll be honest and say that I haven't thought a lot about 2025. But I'll tell you that I have, over the last just couple of months, really become comfortable listening to myself and getting to know myself again. And I don't know if there was ever like an intentional like forgetting who I am or any of that like kind of thing. But you know, ourselves, we recreate ourselves over and over and over again. That's life, right? But I'm just really interested in who I am today and who I'm going to be tomorrow, and blessing that, and just curious about who that is. Yeah.
The thing that I sent you this morning.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, who's a minister who kind of has this like online community, sent a Jamie May Kyson. I've never heard this person, but this is the quote: "To love someone is to attend 1,000 births of who they are becoming."
Yeah.
It's learning more about yourself, and maybe you're in the attendance of that too.
Yeah, I'm attending to myself, and like it's weird because to me it feels like there's this new me that is being birthed in this process of marathoning. And I know that sounds really weird, but like I'm having to be in tune with my body in ways that I never have had to. And that itself is bringing up new feelings in me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to like get to know this version of me. Yeah.
Your dad said something that was kind of poignant. You are not raising a child; your child is raising you. And
that's the truth.
That's so true.
That's the truth. There's this really
and discovering more about ourselves in that too.
Yeah, there's this really interesting podcast that I was actually just telling John about. That is Trevor Noah's podcast. It's called What Now? But one of his recent episodes back in October that I just got into his show. October.
All of a sudden you're a Baltimorean in your accent. I just heard it.
Back in October. I listened to this today, but it's called For Kids or Anyone Who's Ever Been a Kid. And it talks about like how kids are the experts in their lives because they're like living it, and they know what it's like to be a kid right now. So yeah, the answer is yes, she's raising me. But go listen to that podcast; it's fascinating. Yeah.
Well, friends, feel free to share if there are things that you're looking forward to, things that you've learned. It's all part of it. Right? Yeah. It all counts. The hopes side and the learning side.
It all belongs.
It all belongs. Yeah, it all belongs. Everything is spiritual.
Yeah.
Well, so we are this Sunday. We are going to preach. I'm preaching.
You're
this
preaching.
Sunday.
Yeah.
You're speaking. Tell us a little bit about the monologue side of this.
So just to orient you just a little bit, this is the last Sunday of Advent. So we have Advent 4 on Sunday, and then we have Monday. Tuesday is Christmas Eve. So, really short week here, but we're going to end our series. We've been doing this series. No, actually, we're not ending it because we're going all the way to Epiphany. Never mind, sorry. But we're doing this series that's using Ruth Bowling's book, Season's Greetings, that is a compilation of letters from people who were there to Christians in the 21st century about what Christmas means to them. And so I'm going to be highlighting the voice of Mary. Because Mary's song is highlighted this week in this week's lectionary that John will be preaching on.
The Magnificat.
The Magnificat. The Magnificat.
There you go.
Grumpy cat.
Grumpy cat.
It says up to Snow Good. By the way, in case you're wondering.
It looked like snow goo.
Snow.
Snow goat. Good.
So, but this, I love this monologue because it does two things. It captures the risky joy of Mary's life. And I say risky joy intentionally together because there is a joy that she has, right? That she is participating in God's story in this major way. There is this contagious joy in her. And actually, typically, Mary's song, the Magnificat, comes during the third week of Advent, which is the week of joy. But this year it comes during the week of love, which is interesting. But there's this contagious joy in Mary. But there's also this, underside, kind of scary side. This risky side.
Yeah.
This unwed teenage mother, which the teen part is, not abnormal in that time period. But she is unwed. She is engaged to Joseph. She is supposed to be pure and, all those things. And so the risk is in saying yes to this. Being ostracized.
The ostracization.
Ostracization.
Say emu. Sorry.
She was emued. So, no, but there's the risk of being ostracized. There's the risk of losing it all. Literally, being stoned to death is a risk. And so there's this joyful risk to her story that Ruth writes, where she kind of compares herself to someone who's riding on the front row of a roller coaster. That it's that kind of hold your breath because you're scared, but also scream because you're excited.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love that captures the tension within her in a way that I don't think I've ever read or heard or felt before. The other thing I want to lift up from this that I think is really important is that Ruth draws out in Season's Greetings that Mary's a prophet. Mary's response to the angel when the angel says, I want you to go do this. Mary's response is, "Here am I, Lord," which is an echo of the responses of the great prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, the great prophets of old. And so what Ruth does in this letter and what Mary does, I think, primarily, is she situates herself, or the writer situates her, as a prophet. As a woman who is a prophet in the tradition of the prophets of old. So you automatically get this jarring image of oh, we're up to something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The monologue. And the Magnificat, and we're going to read the leading up to it as Mary goes to visit Elizabeth and the babies jump. It's really I love this text. There is that joy and that excitement. You can see it shared between two women in this text, and then it moves on, and then you have this song of justice.
Yeah.
And it says Mary says, or Mary proclaims, that kind of thing. But really, I feel like it should be Mary sings.
Yeah.
Mary sings joyfully. And in her song, it talks about the whole flip that's going to happen and how it's and to me, yes, the flip was needed then. And the flip is needed now.
Yeah.
But the arc of the moral universe, according to King, who was quoting a pastor in Chicago, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. This flip is still happening, and we're still called to participate in it.
Yeah.
And I can't decide. I know where I think I'm going right now, and some of it's in the title. And if you've read the title of Talking Toast tonight, and and it's something meaningful to you,
What's the title?
maybe the title is "When I Find Myself in Times of Trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom." And then I leave it off right there.
Let it be.
Yes, thank you. So I leave it off right there. and so yeah, I'm excited about seeing where that takes us. Julia Utley said, 2025 will be my 3rd year of sobriety. I'm looking forward to possibly attempting to forgive myself. Oh, Julia.
That's hard work.
You're doing the good stuff. I am so glad to know you. And thank you for sharing this with us. And
I just want to say out loud that I am so amazed by the work that people who are going through the 12 steps do in each of the steps, and that it's work that every single person needs to be doing.
yeah.
I was peeping in on a conversation between a mother and her daughter last week on Facebook. And her daughter has transitioned, and she was talking, kind of reflecting on Facebook about what transition means and how cis folks view transition as like something that begins and ends. And her mother was saying, like, no, we're always all in transition.
Right.
Trans folks just like name the fact that we're in transition,
right.
and it's more visible for them, and it's more subdued for cis folks, and I think there is a vulnerability, there's a transparency that is needed and similar in the 12 steps, that this is work, self-forgiveness is work that everybody needs to go on. And it's work that we see people who are in 12-step programs going on themselves.
That arc is at place in our own lives.
Yeah, there's like the very micro and the very macro and everything in between.
Yeah. We've done some talking, had some good comments, and we need to do some toasting now.
Yeah, it's time.
Will you start us?
Friends, as you go from this place, from this year, from this time, give into the fullness of it all. Remember Mary, who was joyful in her risk-taking and risky in her joy-making. And let that be your model as you go all in on this next year, on Christmas, on all that is before you.
May you find your place in that arc And may you also find hope in that arc, that it is headed towards good things. We're turning it over together.
Cheers.
Cheers, friends. Here's to 2025. Here's to you. Thank you so much for making Talking Toast what it is, and being a joy and a presence in our own lives and in our own ministry. This is a real gift, and we don't take it lightly.
Yeah, and more excitement to come in
That's right.
2025
That's right.
for Talking Toast.
That's right. We'll share things soon, and our air conditioner just turned on. That's interesting.
I've been having hot flashes tonight. Woo!
Well, friends, we'll see you next year.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great end of 20.